Hello and welcome to Indus News Live from Islamabad. I'm Hira Mustafa and these are the headlines. Islamabad has called on the UN and the international community to take note of Indian terrorism in Pakistan. Handing over a dossier on Indian terrorism to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Pakistan's Ambassador Munir Akram said India is involved in sponsoring terrorism in Pakistan and in the region and wants to paralyze Pakistan's economy. Azerbaijan has retaken Gulbahar district as part of a deal signed with Russia and Armenia to end the Nagorno-Karabakh war. The Azeri Defense Ministry says units of the Azerbaijan army have entered the region after 27 years of Armenian occupation. During the 44-day conflict, Azerbaijan liberated several cities and nearly 300 settlements and villages from Armenia. Turkey says its forces have killed 17 militants of the Kurdistan Workers' Party in northern Syria. The defense ministry said the militants attempted to infiltrate into regions of its cross-border anti-terrorism operations. Ankara holds the Kurdistan Workers' Party responsible for the deaths of some 40,000 people in a 30-year terror campaign. The global number of coronavirus deaths has topped 1.4 million with more than 59.6 million infections. Brazil's COVID-19 death toll has crossed 170,000, while more than 6 million people have tested positive for the virus. India has registered 481 deaths and over 44,000 infections overnight, with the caseload crossing 9.2 million. Pakistan's death toll has surpassed 7,800 with 59 new deaths and over 3,000 new cases in the past 24 hours. And in football, Paris Saint-Germain have revived their hopes of reaching the Champions League knockout phase by beating RB Leipzig. Neymar scored the only goal of the match through an early penalty to secure the 1-0 victory for Paris. Well, these were the headlines. News in detail coming after the short break. Stay with us. Welcome back, and now the news in detail. Islamabad has called on the UN and the international community to take note of Indian terrorism in Pakistan.
Handing over a dossier on Indian terrorism, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Pakistan's Ambassador Munir Akram said India is involved in sponsoring terrorism in Pakistan and in the region and wants to paralyze Pakistan's economy. He urged the UN chief to prevail on New Delhi to desist from these illegal and aggressive activities. Later in a press briefing at the Pakistan mission, Ambassador Akram said he told Guterres that India is violating international law, the UN Charter and Security Council resolutions by stoking terrorism. He added, Pakistan will draw attention of the relevant UN bodies to Indian terrorism while reserving its right to self-defense. The envoy said the Secretary General praised Pakistan's fight against terrorism. In conducting the most successful counter-terror operations anywhere in the world, Pakistan paid a heavy price. Terrorism has claimed over 83,000 lives of civilians and soldiers and caused massive setback of economy worth $126 billion to Pakistan.
Pakistan's foreign minister has left for Niger to participate in the 47th session of the OIC'S Foreign Ministers' Council. The Ministerial Council of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation will start for November 27th. Pakistan's Foreign Office says representatives of all 57 OIC member states and 5 observer states will attend the session. It said the delegates will discuss confronting Muslim world with particular focus on combating Islamophobia, Palestine and Kashmir. It said Shah Mahmood Qureshi will highlight the worsening human rights and humanitarian situation in Indian-occupied Kashmir. On the sidelines, Qureshi will also hold bilateral meetings with his counterparts and heads of delegations of member states. U.S. President-elect Joe Biden has announced his foreign policy and national security team for 6 important posts.
Speaking in his hometown of Wilmington, Biden says America is back and ready to lead the world as he turns away from Trump's America First policy. Biden said his administration will emphasize enhanced cooperation on working with Washington's allies. He praised the vast experience and diversity of his team, saying it will not retreat from challenges. The president-elect named Antony Blinken as Secretary of State and Alejandro Mayorkas as first Latino Homeland Security Secretary. Linda Thomas-Greenfield has been assigned the portfolio of Ambassador to the UN. Jake Sullivan has been given charge of National Security Advisor. Biden continued to break barriers by appointing Avril Haines as Director of National Intelligence, the first woman to hold the post. With the announcement, Biden is pressing forward with transition even as Trump refuses to concede defeat.
Syria's military says Israeli warplanes carried out airstrikes in the southern outskirts of the capital, Damascus. In a statement, the military said Israeli strikes hit a strategic area from the occupied Golan Heights. It said the air raids only caused material damages. The strike on southern Damascus came just a week after a series of Israel's air raids against multiple targets inside Syria. Israeli officials have denied to comment on the Syrian army's claims. Turkey said its forces have killed 17 militants of the Kurdistan Workers' Party in northern Syria. The defense ministry said the militants attempted to infiltrate into regions of its cross-border anti-terrorism operations. It said Ankara will not allow terrorists to disturb peace and security in northeastern Syria. Peace Spring is one of the 3 operations launched by Turkey across its border with northern Syria since 2016. Ankara holds the Kurdistan Workers' Party responsible for the deaths of some 40,000 people in a 30-year terror campaign. Ethiopia has rejected criticism by rights bodies over the government's ongoing military operation in its Tigray region. This comes after international rights group and the UN expressed concerns regarding killing of civilians by warring sides in clashes. In a statement, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed refuted all such action as interference in the country's internal affairs. He said Ethiopia is capable of resolving its matters in accordance with its domestic and international laws. Abiy urged the international community to respect fundamental principles of non-intervention under international law. Earlier, Ethiopia's human rights body said at least 600 civilians have been killed in the clashes in the town of Maikadra. Meanwhile, the EU has also called for hostilities to halt, saying the fighting is seriously destabilizing the East African region. Azerbaijan has retaken Kalbahar district as part of a deal signed with Russia and Armenia to end the Nagorno-Karabakh war. During the 44-day conflict, Azerbaijan liberated several cities and nearly 300 settlements and villages from Armenia. The Azeri Defense Ministry said units of the Azerbaijan army have entered the region after 27 years of Armenian occupation. Meanwhile, the presidents of Turkey and Russia have discussed the progress of agreements in Nagorno-Karabakh. President Tayyip Erdogan said other co-chairs of Minsk group criticizing Russian and Turkish peace efforts is regrettable. Russia's President Vladimir Putin briefed Erdogan about the activities of Russian peacekeepers. Russian troops have started securing a passage of vehicles in Nagorno-Karabakh's Lachin corridor. Earlier, Turkey said it will reveal the alleged war crimes by Armenia during the 6 weeks of fighting in the Karabakh region. The presidents of Turkey and Russia have discussed the progress of agreements in the Nagorno-Karabakh region. Ankara's communications directorate said the joint Russian-Turkish monitoring in the region will soon be operational. President Tayyip Erdogan said other co-chairs of Minsk group criticizing Russian and Turkish peace efforts is regrettable. Meanwhile, Russia's President Vladimir Putin briefed Erdogan about activities of Russian peacekeepers. Earlier, Turkey said it will reveal the alleged war crimes by Armenia during the 6 weeks of fighting in the Karabakh region. Turkey's chief ombudsman said they inspected missile-hit civil settlements during the field visits to Azerbaijan. He said the deliberate targeting of civil settlements far from the front line is a crime against humanity. The global number of coronavirus deaths has topped 1.4 million, with more than 59.6 million infections. Brazil's COVID-19 death toll has crossed 170,000, while more than 6 million people have tested positive for the virus. India has registered 481 deaths and over 44,000 infections overnight, with the caseload crossing 9.2 million. More in the following report.
As COVID-19 continues to change the world, hundreds of daily deaths and abnormal funeral conditions have quietly become the saddest new normal. The devastation of the virus in the Northern Hemisphere continues as Canada launched new restrictions to slow the spread in its Alberta province. In the U.S., the number of COVID-19 hospitalizations in California has increased by 81% over the last 2 weeks. Russian authorities say the country's coronavirus situation is becoming more complicated with the onset of winter season. But the country's Sputnik V vaccine is said to cost only $20, promising a much-needed silver lining to billions eagerly waiting.
Firstly, I would definitely be vaccinated with the Russian vaccine, since the Russian vaccine will be adapted for the people living in this region. Second, of course, I would like to do it for free. But $10 to $20 is not too much. People can afford it.
Meanwhile, European governments are also taking measures to prevent COVID-19 cases multiplying over the holiday season. France has announced only a limited easing of its strict nationwide lockdown, while Germany and Spain have outlined new curbs on Christmas and New Year gatherings. Over in the African continent, obstacles in distributing a vaccine in far-off regions has raised new concerns.
One of the problems you've got with these COVID vaccines is not many of them have been trialed in Africa. Luckily, AstraZeneca is one of the ones that has been trialed in Africa. But if you don't trial these vaccines in Africa, if Africa is not a part of the development, testing, and deployment of the vaccines, there's a risk that they might not even work on certain African populations.
However, in Oceania, the pandemic seems to be weakening as Australia's New South Wales state is set to ease social distancing restrictions after recording 3 weeks without any local transmission of COVID-19.
In Pakistan, 59 people have lost their lives to COVID-19 over the past 24 hours, raising the death toll to 7,803. The Health Ministry says 3,009 people tested positive for the disease overnight. The ministry said there are more than 42,000 active COVID-19 cases in the country. It added out of nearly 383,000 countrywide cases, almost 333,000 have recovered so far. The ministry said over 166,000 cases have been detected in the Sindh province, while Punjab has reported close to 116,000 cases. In the capital city Islamabad, nearly 28,000 have been infected so far. The Pakistan Army has announced promotions of its senior officers. The military's media wing says 6 major generals have been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General. Among those promoted are Major General Akhtar Nawaz Satti, Major General Sardar Hassan Azhar Hayat, Major General Muhammad Ali, Major General Salman Fayaz Ghani, and Major General Sarfaraz Ali. The former head of military's media wing, Major General Asif Ghafoor, has also been promoted. According to ISPR, Lieutenant General Muhammad Abdul Aziz has been appointed as Corps Commander Lahore. Lieutenant General Muhammad Wasim Ashraf has been promoted Corps Commander Multan. Lieutenant General Nadeem Ahmed Anjum will hold office of Corps Commander Karachi. Lieutenant General Khalid Zia has been appointed Corps Commander Office Bahawalpur. Lieutenant General Sarfaraz Ali will hold office of Southern Command. And Lieutenant General Muhammad Ali will take the helm of Armed Strategic Forces Command. Meanwhile, Lieutenant General Majid Ehsan has been posted as Inspector General Arms. Lieutenant General Saeed Mohammad Adnan has been appointed as Inspector General Training and Evaluation. Lieutenant General Sardar Hassan Azhar Hayat will hold the office of Military Secretary, while Lieutenant General Asif Ghafoor will take the helm of the Office of Inspector General Communication and Information Technology. Pakistan has established its first human rights resource portal with the collaboration of European Union. In a video message, Minister of Human Rights Shiri Mazari said the portal contains all information related to human rights in Pakistan. Mazari said portal is a source of information of Pakistan's law and international conventions that the country has signed on human rights. She said the portal brings together the work on ministry's action plan and its awareness and training programs on human rights. Mazari said the portal contains data on Pakistan's domestic human rights framework. This also included information regarding critical issues like prisons and child abuse.
It is an extremely comprehensive guide to anyone who wants to know not only the status of human rights in Pakistan, but the laws that exist, the potential trainings that are going to be done and are being done, and also the domestic human rights framework.
And now it's time to take a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back, and now moving on to Thai police have summoned 7 leaders of anti-government protests to face charges of insulting the monarchy. Police said the decision comes a day before a planned demonstration demanding the king to give up control of the royal fortune. It will be the first time that such charges have been brought under the laws about insults to the royal family in over 2 years. Anyone found guilty will face up to 15 years in prison. Protests against Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha have increasingly turned to demands to curb the royal powers. Police said no protesters will be allowed within 150 meters of the Crown Property Bureau. In France, lower house of the parliament has passed a controversial bill that declares circulating facial images of police officials a crime. The bill, termed General Security Laws, designed to strengthen the police. Under the bill, anyone charged with the crime will be jailed for a year and fined 45,000 euros upon conviction. 388 members voted in favor and 104 voted against the bill, moving it to the Senate for a second approval. In response to demonstrations against the bill, the government has allowed the broadcast of a police officer's individual identity number. Critics and protesters have slammed the law as authoritarian, which exempts police from accountability for their actions. French police have violently dismantled a makeshift migrant camp in Paris after clashes with migrants and activists. In a tweet, Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin said some of the scenes were shocking. Darmanin ordered police to provide a full report on their actions. Dozens of small tents were removed from Place de la République, with occupants being tipped out by the police. The homeless migrants say they're forced to live on the streets. Police resorted to baton charge the demonstrators as they moved in to clear the square of migrants' tents. Police also used tear gas and chased people through the streets. 4 people have died after a migrant boat from Northwest Africa overturned just off the coast of the Spanish island of Lanzarote. Rescue officials say the death toll may rise as several others are still missing. Rescue officials say there were about 35 people on the vessel when it capsized after smashing into the rocks in Orzola. This is scores of people have been saved while rescuers are still searching for any survivors. They added all those on board were from Maghreb in Northwest Africa and were trying to reach Spain's Canary Islands. The Spanish government has promised to set up camps and shelters for 7,000 people in the Canary Islands. In New Zealand, around 100 pilot whales and bottlenose dolphins have died after a mass stranding on Chatham Islands. Most of them were stranded during the weekend. New Zealand's Department of Conservation said 97 whales and 3 dolphins died in the stranding. Biodiversity Ranger Gemma Welch said 26 were euthanized due to the rough sea conditions. Incidents of mass animal stranding is common on the Chatham Islands. In September, several hundred whales died in shallow waters off the Australian coast in the world's biggest whale stranding. In the United States, the Utah Department of Public Safety have discovered a mysterious metal monolith in the southeastern part of the state. The Utah Wildlife Department officials on mission to count bighorn sheep spotted an unusual 10 to 12 feet high, shiny silver metal monolith sticking out of the ground. The department did not disclose the location of the monolith. Officials said anyone who goes to the area could end up getting stranded and will require a rescue operation. They say it is illegal to install structures or art without authorization on public lands. They added that origin of the monolith is not yet clear. Japanese trendsetters can now protect against the coronavirus in luxury styles with opulent masks. The lavish masks are adorned with diamond and pearls for a cool $1,000,000 each. More in the following report.
As wearing a face mask has become essential in the coronavirus era, a casual wear store in Japan presents luxury masks. A diamond mask is embellished with a 0.7-carat diamond and more than 300 pieces of Swarovski crystal, while the pearl mask contains some 330 Japanese Akoya pearls. Some visitors to the store were concerned the $1,000,000 masks might be out of their league.
If I wear one of these face masks, I have to wear suitable clothes to match it, so I think it is a bit embarrassing to dress up. I am concerned about the price. It is a little bit expensive and it is concerning, so I cannot buy it easily.
The luxurious masks have not been purchased yet, but they are still far from the world's most expensive. That honor belongs to a $1.5 million mask made with 250 grams of 18-karat gold, designed by Israeli jeweler UL.
Although no one has bought them, yet we have had customers reacting and saying such things as beautiful or amazing. So we hope this can cheer up those who see it.
Costco's mask.com chain began selling the handmade masks last week with the aim of cheering up people and to spur sales in a fashion industry depressed by the COVID-19 pandemic.
And now moving on to the business stories, Britain has called on the European Union to move ahead in order to secure a mutually favourable Brexit deal. In an interview, British Cabinet Minister Michael Gove expressed hope that UK will be able to secure a good deal with the EU. Gove said the bloc needs to acknowledge that people of Britain voted to take back control, which was the most important thing. With the resumption of talks, EU negotiator Michael Barnier said major gaps on finishing rights and economic fair play still remain. The two sides have been trying to keep $1 trillion worth bilateral trade free of tariffs and quotas from 2021.
We have a very strong, very able negotiating team under David Frost, and they are working round the clock to secure the very best deal for the United Kingdom. We've got clear red lines, and we won't cross them. But I hope that we will be able to secure a good deal with the European Union. But it's important to recognise that the European Union needs to move as well, and it needs to acknowledge that we voted to take back control, and that's the most important thing.
International Air Transport Association says global airlines are set to lose nearly $157 billion this year and next. In a statement, IATA said the industry is poised to face nearly $120 billion deficit this year and further loss in 2021. IATA Director General Alexander D. Juniak said the situation will not improve before mid-2021. He added the governments must replace travel stifling quarantine regimes with widespread testing. The warning has further downgraded the industrial outlook in response to a second wave of COVID-19 infections and shutdowns. In football, teams battle to book their spot in the penultimate stage of the contest as injuries and fatigue pose a staunch challenge. More in the following report.
As the knockout stage of the UEFA Champions League draw closer, Barcelona, Chelsea, Juventus and Sevilla have become the first teams to qualify for the final 16. Paris Saint-Germain have revived their hopes of reaching the Champions League knockout phase by beating RB Leipzig. Neymar scored the only goal of the match through an early penalty to secure the 1-0 victory for Paris. Earlier, Cristiano Ronaldo's first-half strike against Ferencváros equaled Lionel Messi's record of 70 home goals in the league. Chelsea booked their ticket to the round of 16 with a 2-1 win against Rennes in Group E. Meanwhile, Barcelona put out a dominant second-half display to comprehensively defeat Ukrainian giants Dynamo Kiev 0-4 on their own turf. In Group E, Ivan Rakitic's superb early strike and Munir's late clincher sent Sevilla through after defeating Krasnodar 2-1. Meanwhile, Manchester United coach says the team can still make its way to the knockout round.
Well, the group is still very open. We've got 9, 2 on 6 and Başakşehir on 3, so we still need points to go through. 1 probably should be enough to go through, and 3 probably gives you the win. So it's going to be 2. Hopefully against PSG we can secure the points we need.
Moreover, Liverpool say Mohamed Salah is available to face Atlanta today after testing negative for coronavirus.
And now it's time to have a look at the weather update across the globe. For the latest updates, you can follow us on social media at indus.news.